Hi everyone, this is Cindy, Paint of the Hearts, and today I'm going to be sharing the first in a little mini series on how to do sea and sort of beach backgrounds, ocean backgrounds for your card making. So I'm going to be going into, I'm adjusting my camera, I'm going into various different techniques. So first up is going to be stencils, then I'm going to do stamps, dies, and then ending with paper. And so there are many different ways. I could probably make ocean and sea backgrounds using something different each time and go on for months. There are so many different products on the market, so many different things that you could do. I'm going to kind of show you what I've got in my stash, and that way maybe you can look into your stash for things that are similar if you're looking for ways to make ocean and sea background. And really the focus is, you know, summer cards, right? Because it's the heart of summer right now. And so it's just really the perfect time. And I have so many stamps and dies and things that I just haven't used. And so this is giving me an opportunity. I don't know what I'm doing here. Giving me an opportunity to use a lot of these products that I have in my stash. And so that's really the focus. And so I think there's going to probably be either 1 or 2 videos for each particular kind. So in this case, stencils, there's going to be 2 videos using stencils. And then there'll probably be 1 or 2 videos for stamps, and probably 1 or 2 videos for dies and for paper. So there's anywhere between, I would say, 5 to 8 videos in this series. And so I split up dies because I have split up stencils because I have quite a few cards to make for this video. And so I'm going to be, you'll see some products show up in other videos because a lot of what I do is I will stamp, color, die cut, stencil, a lot of things at once, and then cut them all out and then use them on a variety of different cards, which is kind of what I did here. So I'm going to be using some Lawn Fawn stamps. So this is, what this is called? This is called Ocean Shelfie from Lawn Fawn. This is actually the first time I've used this stamp set, and it's super cute. So I'm excited to use that. I'm also using this My Favorite Thing stamp set, which is called Fish You Were Here, and I absolutely love these little fish. Once you color them in, they're adorable. And then I'm using 2 stamps and dies from the Not Too Shabby shop. This is from their June box of the month. I'm going to be using Vacay Mode, and I'm also using this other one, which is called Ocean Adventures. And then lastly, I'm going to be using for this video this stamp set, which is from Tailored Expressions. I forget the name of this one. I think this one is called Pool Party. And so this was like a little kit last year, but you can buy this all separately. The stencils I'm going to be using is this Pool stencil, and I think it's called Cool Pool or something like that. Rotating stencil. So basically, you would stencil, you would ink it up, and then you would rotate it 90 degrees, and then ink it up with a different color. Lighter or darker, and it gives you sort of a shimmering pool look. And it really does look like water, so it's really fabulous. The other thing I'm going to be using is this wave stencil. However, what I discovered, and I'm sure this is not a new discovery, is that you could use a cloud stencil. So I noticed that my wave stencil looked just like my cloud stencil. And so I'm going to kind of go over that in a minute. So here is that rotating pool stencil. So I did it in 1 shade of blue, and then I rotated it and I did it in a lighter shade of blue. And then I went ahead and I stamped my sentiment right up there so that it's just ready to go. And this is an A2 size card. I'm using my Barely Arts glue to glue that panel, and you're going to see me struggle with getting the glue out because it's been warm here, and so my glue has been like drying out, and so I'm going to have to like pop this top and poke it out because it's just, even with the protective tip, it's been struggling with this heat. And actually, it hasn't even been that hot here. It's probably been upper 70s, mid to mid 80s here. But in Southern California, we don't do well with heat. And I would say I live about 7 or 8, maybe 7 miles from the ocean. I don't live far from the ocean, so not too far. I mean, yeah, I can get there in about 15 minutes. So it's not too far, but yeah. So anyway, I've been finding a lot of my stuff's been drying out, so I really need to make sure that I cover all my ink pads and all of that. Otherwise, my come back and it's going to be stretched. So I did pause the video because it needed a more intense poking of that to get the ink, flowing in this thing, and so it's fine. It's fine. But I really enjoyed this, and I got to use a lot of different products, and you're going to see a lot of different products. So I've got the glue finally going, and so this is an A2 size card, so that panel is 5.5 by 4 1/4. And so the techniques I'm showing and the products I'm showing are probably the least expensive. I mean, they're very inexpensive. So I think the stencil might be like $6 or $7 from Tailored Expressions. And so then I've got my my little floating people and the little floating pineapple drink on some foam. And so this was just a very simple card. I mean, just making that background really kind of made the card, and you can see how great that look is. So you can pretend that they're in the ocean, they could be in a swimming pool, they could be in a lake, so it could be anywhere. And there we go. So first card is done. So the next two cards, I think I've got 4 for this one. I think I'm just going to do this one right here. This one, I can't remember the name of the stencil, and I don't know what I did with it. So this is a mini slim from Tailored Expressions, but there's a lot of companies that do a very similar type of stencil like this one. And for this one, I actually used some glitter paste, and it's some glitter paste that I've had in my stash for a while, so I'm pretty happy that it was still alive, even though I feel like it was starting to kind of be on the starting to dry out. So I'm glad that I got a chance to kind of use it. I used it here and I used it in a couple other places. But stenciling with paste is another way to kind of give you a little bit of a different look. But you can look for stencils that you might have in your collection that kind of just have this sort of wavy type look. And then, of course, you can stencil it with ink, or if you have any sort of pastes. I just happen to use glitter paste because, like I said, I found it in my stash and I wanted to use it before it dried up. And so with this one, I just kind of sort of did a collage style. So I stamped a lot of images and die cut them out that kind of have that sort of vacation feel, I guess. So I have, these are from the Not Too Shabby shop. So I have this sentiment that I'm going to go ahead and put down. It's on foam. And that's another thing, glue doesn't stick real well, I find, on glitter paste. I mean, it does, but not the greatest. It just takes a little bit of time to let it kind of set because, you know, the paste is kind of sometimes hard to stick. So I did try to put things on foam because the foam will stick a little bit better. So I'm going to go ahead and place the flower and the tropical leaf, right there. And then I've got these sort of various images, and when I did this card, I kind of knocked the little board shorts out of the way, and later I discover I have them. So I'll stick those on there later. Don't worry, they will be going on this card. And so these are all just little bits and pieces that are on foam. You see cute little bathing suits, little hats. And so just this sort of collage style card, and I just colored these with my Copic markers, and got my little passport. So another way to use stencils, right? And paste, and I'll put the little board shorts on a little later. You'll see me do that. So I'm going to set that card aside. So that's the second one. And then the third and fourth card, use this wave stencil, which I discovered is almost exactly like my cloud stencil. Almost exactly. Like, it might be even the same stencil. I don't know. But what you do with the wave or the cloud stencil, you could do it the same, and I used one for each of these, is you would go ahead and stencil, and I used 2 different colors of distress ink. So I think one was Broken China. I forget what the other one was. So you would do the 2 different colors, and you would kind of, the lighter color would kind of blend the 2 layers together, and you would do that. And then once you were done, see if it's a cloud, it looks like clouds, you would then flip it over so it's upside down, and then you've got waves. So you could do that with your cloud stencil. Looks like clouds, and then you flip it over, and it looks like waves. So if you have a cloud stencil, you do not need to buy a wave stencil. You do not. You could just use your cloud stencil and just stencil your clouds and then flip it over, and boom, you've got waves. And all I did then was I threw some white watercolor paint on there so that it kind of looked more, you know, oceany. But that's it. And so I discovered that I did not need a wave stencil because it's exactly like the cloud stencil. So this is a very inexpensive way, and this way you get clouds and waves in one stencil. So if you have that in your stash, you are good to go. If you don't, and you're looking for something really economical, this is the way to go, I think. So all I did was kind of use a hill or a snow slope, or, you know, you've got, somebody's got probably at least one of those. I've got multiple ones that are like that, that make a wavy line that you could then cut to create kind of like a sand bank, sandbar, I don't know, island, a beach. So I'm going to create a little sort of scene using the surfboards and some other little pieces. Most of these pieces came from the Not Too Shabby Shop stamp set that I showed you guys. However, this little coral piece and the little blue starfish, that came from Pink and Main. So Pink and Main had some die sets that came out last month. They were in the subscription box for last month, which I picked up. And they'll show up in quite a few videos because I cut a bazillion many different colors so that I had plenty to play around with. But everything else came from the Not Too Shabby Shop. And actually, I love the size of these little surfboards. I'm hoping I'll have enough time before I have to go back to work to make another card using those surfboards. I have kind of an idea for that. So there's little boards. I have them on foam, and I have the little starfish on foam, and it just really just kind of helps kind of give that look that I'm looking for. And I know I'm missing like one other little shell that'll pop up. And I'll put it on the sand. You'll see it's a little shell that I'm missing. I was looking for it. What did I do with it? But I did find a little board short, so I'm going to go ahead and place those down there because they sort of belonged on the card somewhere. So a little collage card, and there you go. So I'll find the shell for that. It'll pop up. It kind of got mixed up. So here is another one using that same technique. So it's just like a cloud stencil, then you flip it over and you've got waves. There's my little shell. So kind of ties in that little scene. See, clouds, and now it's waves. So I'm sure I'm not the only one to discover that, but it's really just a great way of utilizing what you have and getting the most out of it, right? So that was a happy coincidence. So here we go, and then go ahead and place that one down, and then I am using this Sending Good Vibes. So Taylor Expressions has a bunch of stamps that you can, sentiments, strips that you stamp, and then you use a die and it cuts out multiple strips of sentiments. So some of these were very, for this particular, it's like a summer one, was very, to me, for sweet treats. So I saved them for some other projects. But I flipped this around because of the direction of my fish. So I use that octopus from Lawn Fawn. I am going to be using these octopus in a couple places. And I colored them in with some teals. I love how they came out. So cute. And I absolutely love these little fishies. They are stinking adorable. I colored them in all different ways. They'll show up in at least one more video as well, because I did all of the fishies. They're so cute. And little whale, I think I did. So, and this was a really simple one. These are all just on little strips of foam. And this octopus stamp set from Lawn Fawn is stinking adorable. It might be my favorite octopus. I've got a lot of octopi in these cards, and this one is super adorable. So really cute, easy, and those are my cards for this first portion of the stencils to make sea and ocean backgrounds. And thank you so much for watching. This is Sandy Crank the Heart.